and welcome back to another episode of Across the Board. We're here tonight on Monday, December 15th, and we'll talk about some news. We got a few different sports to cover tonight, and we'll start off with some college basketball. We kind of talk about college basketball every Monday, and so we've had a lot happen since last Monday. So I guess we'll start off there.
Yeah, we're going to start with the Jimmy V Classic. Good game there, especially the
Yeah,
first BYU Clemson. What a
man,
um,
great game.
Clemson 22-0 run in the half, then
Mm-hmm.
proceeds to blow it, and here comes BYU back to win that game. Um, that's
Insane.
all, that's about all I can say. I mean, just
Yeah, obviously, like you said, Clemson had a 22-point lead at one point, and then BYU came back. AJ Devonta basically was the reason they came back in the second half. He had, I believe, like 6 points in the first half, something like that. Not that much. And then had 20 something in the second half. He ended with 28. And yeah, he was great. Basically, the reason BYU came back. Um, and gosh, buzzer beater at the end there to win, to walk it off. Insane game. Two good teams. Clemson obviously has done this already this year with Alabama. Played them close, had a close game, was up, and ended up giving it away, just like this one.
and
So
almost did it with Mercer this week, which I mean later on in the week, it almost did again.
yeah, yeah. It was a great game though to watch. An amazing game. BYU is just a little bit better than Clemson. Clemson had a Porter that scored 17 for them, but that was basically they had a couple other guys score some double digits off the bench. Didn't shoot great though, and in order to BYU, not a great shooting game for either team. Some good defense being played, just not good enough at the end.
Yeah, but it's a very fun game. And the next one, even more fun. Obviously, you weren't pleased with the results, but UConn beat Florida 77-73. Um,
Yep,
Again, a very good game. Expected it to be.
amazing.
Florida didn't have some calls go their way at the end. Solo Ball played well. Caravan played well. Um, Xavier Lee played well for Florida.
Did
I think something, of course, fans have been anticipating and waiting for. But guard
mm-hmm.
play and scoring towards the end of the game for Florida didn't quite have it down the stretch. I think when they really needed it most, um,
Mm-hmm.
didn't have it. But another good game, uh, and Hurley's able to take the win.
Yeah, another tough game for Florida, man. Obviously, great team in UConn, number 5, and played them close, just like they played Duke close. Came back, just like they did against Duke. Was down a half, came back, had the lead, up to like 5 at one point with like 3 minutes left or something, and just gave it away at the end. I couldn't finish it off. Obviously, Xavier Lee having a great game with 19 points against a really good UConn team. So finally, kind of turning that around. Not really though great shooting wise. He was 1 for 7 from three, 5 for 14 from the field, but 19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. I mean, great game for him. That's what we wanted to see. Condon had a good game at 14 points. Obviously, Thomas Houck again having his average there at 18. So great games for them. Just still would like to see some more from Boogie, man. I mean, he went 8-1-1, and so it just not great from Boogie, especially down the stretch. We need him at the end. We need somebody to finish, and he just can't. You know, I couldn't get the rebound in there. I think that was a little bit quicker than 5 seconds. Not gonna lie, but you know, it is what it is. UConn played great solo ball with 19 points. They just made the shots on the stretch that they needed to. They shot better than Florida, and they made the shots. So that's what made them, win it at the end there. And Florida couldn't defend it and couldn't make any shots, and got down to a free throw game with the last, minute or so, and that's all Florida. That's all Florida could do. So
Yeah, I mean, I think this, again for me towards the end of the game, I think you need the strategy of the score. Boogie playing
yeah,
being one of those guys. Um, Not being able to step up late in the game is something that has got to be fixed, especially come conference play with the good SEC and how it is. Just play better.
Yeah,
And I think it's a good team, obviously. You know, but I think Coach Ward in the game. I think they need the guard play to step up as
for sure,
let's get some baskets when you need them. So good
for
game.
sure.
I think for Florida, still gonna be a good team this year. We know that. So we'll see how it goes on going forward if that can get better. Um, I want to talk about our mid-major game of the week, or one of the top mid-major games of the week, McNeese and Rhode Island. Um,
Yeah,
Again, a very good game. Didn't disappoint. Rhode Island
did
turned the
not.
ball over 21 times. Uh, you can't do that. It's just
No,
you can't do
no,
that.
no, and not at all. You legitimately can't. You can't give a team like McNeese, who shoots the ball pretty well and is a high scoring team, you can't turn it over 21 times and expect to win. You can't turn it over 21 times against any team and expect to win. But especially someone like McNeese, who can shoot the ball great. And they didn't honestly have their greatest shooting night. They shot 29% from 3 point and 40% from the field. But they made the shots that they needed to make. So, like it was what it was. And yeah, Rhode Island with a close loss, a game that they should have probably have won. They didn't have a great shooting night either, but they stuck in the game even with 21 turnovers, which says something about them. They have some guys that can play. Tripp coming off the bench with 16. Two guys off the bench led both teams for McNeese and Rhode Island. Tripp with 16 for Rhode Island, and then Archie coming off the bench for McNeese had 18. So bench guys are playing good, which is good for both teams. Later on in the year, but yeah, but need better shooting for both teams. But then Rhode Island turnovers, man, need to fix those.
Yeah, just and especially in a close game as it was. Obviously, a two-point game. Uh, Turning it over 21 times just hurts.
And they
Um,
got and they got to the line 27 times. They shot 27 free throws,
they were
and they
85.
didn't. And they lost the game.
But again, very good game. So
Yeah,
we'll see Rhode Island that cleaned up.
yeah.
Um, a game going on our next a team that has not disappointed. We're going to talk about them again later on, but playing really well this week and this season. Nebraska broke
Mm-hmm.
stomped Wisconsin 90-60. Wasn't even
Oh
close.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they just played good ball. Uh,
They did. They did. It was
ball.
good game, great game for Nebraska. This was kind of the game everybody was looking forward to before the Illinois game a couple of days ago that we'll talk about here in a little bit. This was the first really good team that Nebraska has played. People were wondering whether or not they would actually stay this good and in starting conference play, see if they can actually beat a team worthy of being beat, and they did. I mean, they blew them out of the water, beat them by 30. Wisconsin had a terrible shooting day, shot 22% from three, 34% from the field, and only got to the line 11 times. They did out rebound them on the offensive side, but didn't really matter for Nebraska. They had five guys in double digits, and with Mast leading at 17. They shot the ball all right, pretty good, 54% from the field and 37% from three, and just yeah, they they overall just played way better ball than what Wisconsin could ever keep up with. Just yeah, they didn't turn it over that much. They played solid. Guards playing good. Everybody's playing good for Nebraska, and we'll talk about him again playing good here in just a minute.
Yeah, again, great game for Nebraska, and Nebraska played good ball. Be threatened the Big Ten. Um, Good game of a great game of the week with another team in the Big Iowa State, Iowa. We watched it. Iowa went up 13, played some good ball. Iowa State able to pull away at the end, but really exciting to watch. Um, Obviously, Iowa State coming off a big win against Purdue last week,
Yeah,
uh, playing
yeah,
good ball. Iowa playing good ball. It was a good game to watch for sure.
yeah. Everybody was wondering if Iowa State could keep it up. Against a good Iowa team, obviously a rivalry there, and after beating Purdue like they did, could they keep it up? Could they keep that style of game, good play, going into a another good game? And they did. They did. Jefferson with 24 points for them, Amazing game for him. Only had 3 guys in double digits, but that's all they needed. I mean, they got to the line 23 times, made 74% of them. They didn't shoot amazingly, but they didn't shoot too bad. 42% from the field, 33% from three. And yeah, they had 11 steals and 6 blocks. They just played good offense, but great defense. Especially down the stretch there, had to stop Iowa a few times because they got down at some points and had to stop them. And second half, that's what they did. I mean, what they were down? They were down at half by a little bit, weren't they? And then, yeah, yeah, and yeah, coming out of half and played great. Went on a run and then got the game back into their hands, got the game back into what they know how to do, and Iowa just couldn't hang on. Only had 3 guys in double digits, with Banks being their leading scorer at 14. They didn't shoot the ball bad at all. They shot 51% from the field and 47% from three, but they only got to the line 5 times. You kind of need more than that. So it's just not great. Not bad ball from Iowa. Just Iowa State's just a tad bit better and had the upper hand down the stretch.
Yeah, good game. Obviously, close one at that, but
Yeah,
good game. Excited to see these
yeah,
two teams play. It was just a Saturday slate, a lot of good games. But
sure,
you know, first one, Arizona just building on their resume, beat Alabama by
man,
1. Um,
man.
just actually not, yeah, 21. They're just
Yeah,
building, just taking.
Arizona is unbelievably good. I mean, you can talk about Michigan all you want, and you can. And Michigan's extremely good as well. But Arizona has they've won. I saw a thing in Quad A games. They're undefeated. They're 4-0 in Quad A games. Insane. Quad 1A games 4-0. Absolutely insane for them. They've played amazing ball. They keep beating people. And Pete didn't even have a good game. He was 6-1-1. And look at what this team did to a good Alabama team. I mean, Burris had 28 points for them. I mean, how do you stop that? Their best player didn't even play good, and they still beat a great team in Alabama by 21 points. They didn't shoot the ball bad. They got to the line 20 times, but they out rebounded Alabama by 20. I mean, they had 52 rebounds compared to Alabama's 32. That's just, especially on the offensive side, 22 offensive rebounds to Alabama's 3. Second chance points. That was the game right there. Second chance points. That's something that Alabama's had some troubles with, offensive rebounding, and they couldn't handle Arizona in the paint. Obviously, Philon had a great game with 24 points, and so did Wrightsell with 21 points for Alabama. Both of those guys played amazing ball, shot amazingly. But when you only have 2 guys and that's it, legitimately nobody else had double-digit points for Alabama. You're not going to win against a team like Arizona. There's no chance.
Yeah, good. Obviously, Arizona building on resume. I still think they're number one team in the country without a doubt.
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely.
playing good ball. I'm going to a game that was a late night one on Saturday. Gonzaga and UCLA. Uh, typical win. Uh, Gonzaga playing well. Kind of beat Alabama actually in the players area.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but good game. Uh, and you kind of look at the numbers of the game, and they're awfully similar. Gonzaga get a 10-point win, but numbers are just similar in this game, coming from the free throw percentage to everyone else. Field goal, Gonzaga shot 50%, UCLA 49. Uh, from three, UCLA was 46%, and Gonzaga was 37. Um, rebounding, Gonzaga 12 offensive rebounds to UCLA 6. But
Yeah,
you know, honestly, look at the numbers. Not much difference, but Gonzaga able to pull away and win this one.
yeah, yeah. For Gonzaga, great game for them. I think the number that stands out to me the most is that they got to the line 32 times.
They did do
32
that.
times. You know, that's the number that stands out to me. They only made 20 of them, but they got to it 32 times compared to UCLA's 19. And that's basically what made them, win this game. Obviously, Huff had 21 points for them. Shot great, 7 for 12 from the field. And then Graham Ike, arguably best player for them, 25 points. I mean, you just play great ball like that, and that's what happens. You win some games, and that's what Gonzaga is. Gonzaga is a great team, an amazing team at that, and they beat a good team at UCLA who struggled at the start of the year, but Bilodeau had 24 for them. Was 4 for 6 from three, and played a great game, but just not enough to beat a good Gonzaga team.
Yeah, uh, definitely good game, and Gonzaga's playing well. Obviously, eighth in the country, I believe, right now. They're playing good ball. I want to move to another game, and one that I don't think we put on our list last week, but more just kind of highlighting a team playing well. Seton Hall uh,
Yeah,
beat Rutgers 81-59, 10-1 on the year after being 7-25 last year, I believe. Um,
yeah, yeah.
Turnaround.
Man, amazing turnaround for them. It's been a great season so far for them. They've played great ball, and like you said, a big turnaround for them from 7 wins all last year to 10 already this year. Beat a Rutgers team, which isn't amazing, but they beat them by a good margin. They beat it by 22 and looked solid, looked like a tournament team, and that's all Seton Hall fans want for sure. They want to be back to that team that makes the tournament year after year, and they did. Stat McRae for them had 18 points. They had 4 guys in double digits, spread the ball around good. Didn't get to the free throw line too many times, but shot good overall, and just kind of outplayed a Rutgers team, which is just kind of this season. Not too great. Out rebounded them. Their assist, they they passed the ball great. They passed the ball great in this game. Had 19 assists. And yeah, I mean, the only problem that I see with Seton Hall is turnovers. Their turnovers, they can kind of get away with them, but they kind of make up with it on the defensive side. They force a lot of turnovers, but they do turn over the ball a little too much for my liking. Like 15 in this game, but they had 13 steals and 7 blocks on the defensive side. So, good there. And offensive rebounds been solid for them. So second chance points as well. Just if they can clean that up a little bit more, they could be a great team, and they're on their way to being able to hopefully be a tournament team this year. Like they hope.
Yeah, and turnaround for them. And I'm excited to see what they can do in the Big East this year, especially being how the Big East is. And we'll see how
Oh
that.
yeah, it's kind of open. So if Seton Hall can kind of just slide in there to be good this year or be solid and not lose a ton of games in the Big East, they can easily get an at-large bid going to the tournament.
Definitely. I want to move to this next game that I think a big get back game for this team. And a team we talked about seeing if they could turn around. Kentucky gets a big win over Indiana, 72-60. Tell you what stands out to me in this game. Indiana turned the ball over 18 times to Kentucky's 4.
Yeah, yeah, not good there again. Kind of like what we said with Rhode Island. You give a team that can shoot, which we know Kentucky can. They haven't shot great this year so far, but we know they are a good shooting team. If you give a team like that many chances, that many opportunities, they're going to beat you. And so good for Kentucky, though. A good bounce back game that they needed.
And
I still just don't. And yeah, and honestly, Kentucky didn't play good in this game, and they won. They really didn't. 20% from three, 38% from the field, 66% from free throw line. They got to the free throw line 38 times. That's basically what won them this game. Fouls were all over the place in this game, though, because Indiana got to the line 29 times. So, by the way, I just want to mention Indiana 90% from the free throw line, only missing 3 of them. Great there for them if there's one bright spot. But at the same time, they shot 34% from the field and 17% from three. 4 for 24. It's just something that they can't do. 18 turnovers, like you said, to Kentucky's 4. Kentucky didn't make that many shots. I mean, they really didn't. They didn't play good ball. But because Indiana turned over the ball so much, and because they could get down the court and get into the paint and get fouls, then got to the free throw line that many times, they won this game. I mean, overall, that's what got them though. They still need to play better ball though, man. They only had two guys in double digits, and Diabate and Owe being those two guys, 10 and 14. Like you just can't. They don't have, like we said before, like we said last week. They don't have anybody to finish those games. They got away from this one because Indiana played horrendous and shot terribly. Just couldn't make any shots. But you play a team like this who gives you the ball that many times. You got to take advantage of that. You got to score some more points. You got to have those guys that can take over the game, that can take the ball down the court and muscle their way into the paint, score some more points, and make this game an even. They should have won this game by 20. I mean, they shoot just okay, and they should win this game by 20, but they shoot bad like they have all year. And hey, they win by 12. It's a bright spot for Kentucky, especially coming off a few bad losses. And maybe it helps them finish out some of these non-con games going into conference play, potentially. But at the same time, Kentucky's got to fix some things.
Yeah, again, the big thing I just want, just more importantly, was getting it mentioned out there was just the need for a turnaround. And this may be the game for it, may not. They didn't play well at all. Both teams did.
No.
It was pretty bad.
No.
But they got the win. And you're hoping it's something that they can get turned around fast. And you're hoping that could be a big win for them going forward. So,
For sure.
obviously, we'll see what they can do. But for them, that's a big relief that they can get a win. And they played bad.
They did.
But at the end of the day, a win's a win, and they got it done. So,
True that.
Good for Kentucky for getting the win.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Kansas and NC State. That was a good one. Obviously, we both watched it. Close one, exciting to see. A lot of good stuff, but Kentucky gets the win at NC State. Both turned the ball over 15 times. They have played solid. Kansas was 36% from three, NC State 26. Kansas 42% from the field, NC State 37. But look at all the numbers again, close. The score kind of
Yeah. Man, Kansas, even without one of their best players, I mean, Aaron Peterson saw that there's a chance that they could. I thought I saw that there's a chance that they could sit him for a few games now, which isn't great for them.
I thought I saw
him going
almost.
Maybe, potentially. Hopefully not for Kansas, because if Peterson doesn't play the rest of the season, I don't really like their chances. I don't love it. It's the guy. He's kind of the guy that they run through. He's their best guy. They won this game because Council Jr. had his best game ever, basically, for him, and had 36 points. But you can't rely on somebody else. You just can't rely on for your not top guy to have a career high game every single time you need it. And they get away from this game, obviously, in overtime. Great game against a good team like NC State, who will compete in the ACC. But for Kansas going into conference play, if Peterson isn't playing consistently, or if he's not playing at all come the end of January, I don't like it. I don't think Kansas will have great success. But they did win this game. They didn't shoot great. Obviously, Council Jr. having a career high and playing amazing ball. Nobody for NC State really did too much. Copeland had 19. They had a couple of guys with a few good points, but they're really like a five-man team. That's the problem with NC State right now is they're really just like a five-man team. They got five guys that play good ball, and that's really just what they rely on. And, yeah, but bad loss for NC State. They had chances in that game, like we both saw, we watched, and didn't shoot great either. Both teams didn't shoot amazingly, but Kansas, with their high scorer, that's what got them this win.
Yeah, good game. But obviously, the big question is, what will he will potentially get their star guy back,
Peterson. Yeah.
Pearson, going forward. Thank you. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So we'll see going forward, and obviously that's going to be something they keep up with as well. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big for Kansas, man. That's the. I think it kind of. It's either they get him back and they compete in the Big 12 this year, and they compete going into March, or if they don't, they might have a little bit more trouble. It's just. I think it's the guy that they need to be as good as they want to be this year.
Definitely. So moving to our next game, we got two more left, but a game that was really good, and we anticipated it to be obviously was on our list last week. Utah State, Illinois State. Uh, Utah State wins the game 83-78. But what a
Yeah.
very good game. Utah State was 52% from the field, Illinois State 58%. Utah State 38 from three, uh, Illinois State 35%. Both teams shooting well from the free throw line. Utah State 80%, Illinois State 81. Um, I think a big thing in this game was the offensive rebounds. Utah State out rebounded them on the offensive side 19-7. Uh, Bigger in
Mm-hmm.
size, but
Yeah.
a game that we obviously knew would be a good one, and we knew Illinois State would compete. A very good mid-major team.
Oh yeah. Illinois State, good team. Will compete this year for sure in the MVC. Could could be the MVC winner this year, for all I know. Um, Utah State, obviously, a great team as well. Mountain West contenders can potentially if they can keep this play up going into conference play, and we'll see that here soon. So, yeah, but great game for them. Illinois State had they had four guys, four of their starters in double digits, with Ty Pence being 21 points for them, 8 for 9 from the field. He played good ball, but for Utah, they played better, man. Uh, Fauslev had 16, Collins Jr. had 20, and then coming off the bench for them, Clark had 18 points. So, you know, big win for them against a good team. Like I said, they could definitely be a team going into March, that, they could get an at-large bid, or they could win the Mountain West and just get an auto bid. So yeah, good win over a good team in Illinois State, which most people don't probably pay attention to, but good mid major, and yeah, solid win.
Yeah, good game. Utah State, I think, would be a very top contender in the Mountain West. Could very well win it. A couple teams come alive in the Mountain West, and we'll kind of get into that some of the games this week. But the final
Yeah,
one, and we knew we'd get back to it. Nebraska gets another big win, beats Illinois at Illinois, and
yeah,
proven. I feel like almost proving to the world and the country that we're a legit team. Obviously, they've had stars like these before against solid teams, nothing special, nothing great. Uh, but now getting two big wins. Of course, this being the big one at Illinois, huge for them, and I think showing everyone that they're a legit team in this game. Um, they're playing good basketball.
yeah,
They, uh,
yeah. They
and the
are.
big thing in this game, big takeaway. They only got to the line 8 times. Were 87%. It was 7 for 8. But the 3 point shooting, Nebraska was 42%. Illinois was 34. But again, Nebraska is legit. I think they're just proving to everybody that we are a legit team. We can play ball.
Yeah, Nebraska. Like we said, they've had starts like this before. I think the big question will be, can they? Oh, well, throughout conference play, can they keep this up? And that's kind of what people were looking at. They've had starts in years past where they start off really good. They obviously beat everybody they should. They win a couple of games that maybe um, are close, or against a couple of good teams, and everybody's like, oh, this might be the year where Nebraska might be back. And I think this is the year they actually might be. This might be the year for Nebraska fans that they've been looking for. In all their years, I think 125 years of Nebraska basketball have not won a tournament game.
Single.
So I think this might be the year that they do that finally. At least they look that way right now. Stanford scoring 32 for them was great. I mean, insane game for him, and played amazing ball throughout. Obviously, they had three other guys in double digits points, one coming off the bench too. So great game for them overall. They shot solid. They shot the ball really good, almost 50% from three and 50% from the field. So great shooting for them. Beat a good Illinois team who we've seen struggle in the past, but Illinois didn't play bad. Again, they shot the ball pretty good, not terribly, and it just they couldn't. In the end, Nebraska just they've got players, they've got the people to score, and they can just score on you. That's the hard part. I think they're energetic. They on the offensive side, and they can just make it some shots when they need to. And I think that's the thing that Nebraska fans have been wanting to see, especially over the past few years. That's really something that they haven't been able to do, and that's what they're doing this year. So great win. Obviously, like you said, people have been looking forward to this game to see if they were really made of what the people thought they might have been made of, and they showed that they are.
Just proving it. Okay, that's kind of a recap of the games about last week. Before we get to the games this week, I want to do a stress meter. So obviously, you know how this goes. Let me give you some teams.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you feel about them going forward. And yeah, pretty plain and simple. We're gonna start with the
Sounds
first
good.
team here. Have lost three in a row. And we're gonna start with the Tennessee Volunteers.
Mm, Tennessee. I mean, it's difficult, man. Tennessee. I, they were great last year. We all saw that. They were great last year. They played amazingly, and they did what people thought they could do. And going into this year, people thought that they might be just as good, if not better than that. And honestly, yeah, they've lost three in a row, which isn't great. They've lost to three good teams, though. I mean, you got to give them that. Uh, Illinois, their last game, then Syracuse, and then Kansas. Obviously, Syracuse looking a little worse than what maybe they thought when they beat Tennessee, but yeah, I don't know. Tennessee's if I had to put them on the stress meter, I would say probably like a five, probably right in the middle, because they didn't lose to bad teams and they shot pretty bad in those games. But at the same time, they play in the SEC. They'll have a lot of chances. We were talking about this last night. They'll have a lot of chances for good wins, and their non-con schedule was not bad. They played good teams. And beat good teams, as in, well, we all saw them beat Houston. So they have a great non-con schedule. They'll play good in the SEC no matter what. They'll win some games. They'll compete in the SEC, and I think it's just a little bit of a skid. Maybe some bad shooting, maybe some bad breaks, like Syracuse game, and yeah, they did lose by 13 to Illinois, and Illinois did just get beat by Nebraska, but I think it's fine for Tennessee. I think they'll, you know, get ready for conference play come January, and they'll kind of, they'll do what they know how to do.
Definitely. And again, obviously, 3 game skid. We'll see what they can do going forward. Rick Barnes led team, but again, a lot of change is going to be in conference play. A lot of good
Yeah,
teams, and,
definitely.
and we'll see ends up working out for them. I got St. John's on here as the
Okay.
next team.
We've mentioned them before. Mentioned them, I think, last week, honestly. I think we talked about them, and I'm not too worried about them. I think I said last week, I'm not. They beat Iona the other day. Um, they play DePaul tomorrow, not a bad DePaul team. And then on Saturday, they play Kentucky at Kentucky. So it should be a good game. It should have a chance to have a good win. Obviously, we know what Kentucky has done. I think St. John's can pull that off. They've been underwhelming this year so far with 3 losses. Not what people thought or expected. But again, they've played a tough non-conference schedule. They got beat by Alabama, then Iowa State, and then Auburn. But they beat a good Baylor team. They hung around in the games that they lost to. Other than Auburn beat them by 11, but they beat the teams they needed to. They beat Ole Miss the other day. Ole Miss isn't really too great, but again, the Big East is wide open. I don't have any, like not really too low on them right now because of the fact that they can go potentially, they could at least be one of the two best teams in the Big East and compete with UConn to potentially win. So I'm not too worried about them. Probably like a 3 or a 4.
Yeah, again, obviously one of the games in watch is the game to watch this week. Again, one of the games obviously St. John's and Kentucky,
Yeah.
so we'll see what ends up playing out. Got one more team on here, and uh, obviously a team that you know very well, and I put them on here just with obviously they've lost some good games, but kind of just seeing if they're going to be able to compete in the tournament more of. Because I mean, I think we feel pretty confident they'll get there, or we're not sure, but we'll see. Florida.
Yeah, another team that we've talked about. I think I talked about them last week too. And man, they've gotten through the tough part of their season. They won't play as hard of a stretch as they did in the last 2.5 weeks until basically March. I meant because they've played all their games they've lost, other than TCU. They've been to quad 1A teams. Obviously, Arizona has played amazing, number one team in the nation. They lose to them on the road, not at home, and then obviously lose to Duke and Cameron indoor. Close game. They lost to TCU before that. That's their one bad win, but at the same time, you can give TCU their credit because TCU stuck in a close game against Michigan and almost pulled that one off. So TCU not a bad ball club at all, and obviously again neutral site for that game as well. And then go to Cameron Indoor the next week, play an amazing game, get kind of screwed over at the end and with some bad calls and just obviously turn over the ball. Didn't play, great in the first half of that game either, but competed in the second half. Again, on the road. And then UConn this last week, basically playing in UConn's second home in MSG. Again, pretty much just a pure road game. And they compete again against a great team in UConn and have a chance at the end, up 5, can't pull it off. I say not just because I'm a Florida fan, but because I know, like, kind of like Tennessee, non-conference play is about to end. Going into SEC play, they'll have all the chances in the world to have a great record and a great resume come March and be just as ready as any team. So I really think like maybe a 3 or 4. Probably I would say like a 4, just because I don't know about the guards. Obviously, Xavier Lee has played great for the last couple of games. I think he's got his shot back, at least hopefully. And obviously, and they have 3 non-con scheduled games left. They play St. Francis, and then they play Colgate, and then they play Dartmouth. So 3 easy games that they can, at least hopefully, 3 easy games that they could get some shooting going on. Maybe Boogie can get his shooting better because that's the guy we're waiting to show up, man. He came in as a transfer from Arkansas that we had high hopes for. Thought maybe he could take over that spot that Walter Clayton left last year. Now, obviously, nobody's going to replace him, but thought maybe he could kind of be that guy to finish those games, make some shots, and he just hasn't done that. And so if he can kind of get a shooting going on in the last 3 non-conference schedule games before conference play come January 3rd, they could be good in the SEC. They can still run the SEC. They can still win all the games they need to. Guards have just got to get better. And then down the stretch, too. I mean, they've played great defense, and they can't get down at half like they have a couple of times. They played George Washington, obviously, the other day. Good game there. George Washington gave him some troubles with they kind of gave him some trouble with a 2-3 zone. They weren't making any shots in the first half, but overall, man, I'd say like a 4. Florida's guards just got to play better.
Yeah, and I mean, just kind of adding on it. I'm never really adding on. Just basically agreeing with what you're saying. I think the guard play has got to get better for Florida, especially going
Yeah.
into SEC play. If the guard play doesn't get better, I would definitely say they can appear back on this list, and that number could go a lot higher. So we'll
Yeah,
see forward, but
for sure, for sure. I think one other thing I want to add to that is that they need a tough guy. They need a guy that can kind of tough it out at the end. They don't really have that guy. Obviously, they have the bigs that do that, but like everybody knows they're missing Walter Clayton from last year, and nobody can replace him. But I think Elijah Martin, that guy, that tough guy, that guy that came, that went and you know bodied people in the paint down the stretch and got shots that they needed to get and made them himself. Did all the work. Kind of had that grit to him. They don't really have a guy like that this year. Boogie hasn't shown that. Lee's been kind of on the up and up again in the past few games, kind of showing that. But they just need kind of one of those guys, just kind of grit it out at the end and make some shots.
definitely. So we'll see how it goes for those three teams. Hopefully they can get their games back together, and I think all of them will. We'll see as
Yeah,
time goes on. Are we going to get through the games of the week? We'll kind of go through these so we can get to our next topic. But Tennessee's got a chance. They're going to have a good game. They have to play. They get to play
they do.
Louisville.
Yeah, on
Louisville
Tuesday. Good
one.
game there.
I put this one on here because I think it'll be interesting. UNC and ETSU. I think it'll
Oh
be
yeah,
interesting.
great mid-major team in ETSU who could give UNC some troubles. We've seen them. The Bonnies only lost by 10 to UNC a few weeks ago. So yeah, maybe ETSU can pull off a mid-major win.
Shout out to Bonnies. Got to get
Yeah,
them.
always got to
Um,
bring them up.
got to. Butler UConn, Big East matchup. Just one conference play. As I think a lot of these games could be, interesting conference play always. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
North Texas,
yeah,
Santa Clara, uh, mid major. Gonna be fun to see
yeah.
what.
Two
Uh,
Yeah, two good teams there. Santa Clara, I lost the other day though. Um,
Arizona, but it was a great game. I believe is who it was.
yeah. So maybe they could bounce back, but a good mid-major team.
Wisconsin Villanova is the next one. I think just going to be an interesting game. Big East
Yeah,
and Big Ten, just
could be a
something.
bounce back
Yeah, I think it'll be
for
something interesting.
Wisconsin.
FSU and not FSU, FAU and St. Mary. St. Mary came off a tough
Oh
loss
yeah,
to Boise
yeah.
State, and I did forget to mention that game. Now it just came to my head, but that was a fun one to watch as well. Boise
It
State won
was.
by, but that was a really good game. Um,
Hmm.
Mary's gonna play good, solid FAU team. We'll see how that goes. Kentucky and St. John's. Again, we talked about very highly anticipated. I think it's going to be a big test for Kentucky, and more just to see if they got it turned around. Again, they
True.
did not play great, and obviously it's not really us reiterating that, saying they're a bad team. They're going to be a great team, but
Hmm.
hoping that it's more of a confidence boost. Like, hey, you know what? We maybe didn't play our best, but we may have found something. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Um, Mountain West matchup. Colorado State and Utah State. Colorado State has gotten hot. They've been playing really good ball. They did suffer a bad loss. I want to say a couple weeks ago to Denver. Then they lost for Virginia Tech, but they've been playing good ball since then. And they're going to play a good Utah State team, who again I think these two teams will be running up top of the Mountain West, along with San Diego
yeah.
State, Nevada.
For sure,
Definitely
for sure.
to see play.
I do want to mention a couple of games on Thursday. Sorry. Bradley plays Indiana State. Should be an interesting game. A couple of mid-major teams here. And then I want to shout out a team that I don't think we've ever shouted out before. Radford plays William Mary. Radford's not too great, but do want to give a shout out to Radford's junior, Dennis Parker, who scored 53 points last night in a game. Incredible.
I thought he
Absolutely incredible. Um, yeah, he made history for them, scoring a program high, and just wanted to give a shout out to them. They play a good William Mary team on Thursday. Maybe he can do it again.
maybe put it 54.
Maybe.
Just maybe. We'll move on to our next good game. Team that's gotten hot. Houston's playing Arkansas. Arkansas has gotten really hot. John Calipari team. I'm excited to see that one. Got a huge
That
win.
one could be interesting because Arkansas's had some troubles with playing against some teams that are more organized. So we'll see how their defense holds up against a team like Houston. Obviously, a very organized team. So, but yeah, Arkansas is a great team. So if they can get this win, then it'll be good.
Apologize. Another game of mine I forgot to mention was Arkansas Texas Tech.
Oh yeah,
Good game. Arkansas is playing good ball, man. Arkansas is playing good, so they're going to get hot. I think they'll start playing some good ball soon.
yeah,
So something to keep up with them. Uh, Auburn Purdue. We'll see what Purdue can do. Purdue can, but they obviously coming off a big loss to Iowa State in pretty big fashion at home.
yeah,
Looking to have a bounce back against a good Auburn team. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Going to be a good matchup. Um, Duke and Texas Tech. Going to be another good one. I mean,
yeah. It'll be a great game
possibly
there.
going to be exciting to see two good ball clubs.
Yeah,
Going to be interesting to see how that plays out for them.
yeah,
And then another Mountain West matchup I have on here. Got Boise State, Nevada. Uh, again, two great ball clubs. Boise State, again, a huge win against St. Mary's.
mm-hmm.
Nevada playing good ball as well. Two teams that will play good in the Mountain West play, I believe so. So,
Yeah, yeah,
going to be exciting to see what those two teams do. Arizona's playing San Diego State. I put them on here. San Diego State, a solid team. Um, played the
yeah,
players era, competed. Again, another team I think that'll run. Now it's going to run up top of the Mountain West. Uh,
for sure.
but Arizona, it's going to be a tough game. Arizona's playing well, and I think they're going to keep chugging along. We'll see what San Diego State can do.
And we were talking about San Diego State last night. You know, they're a solid team. They're going to play solid. They've had a tough non-conference schedule and have lost some games. You know, by some margins they probably shouldn't have. But they're a good team overall. They've got the players, so it'll be another test for Arizona, and Arizona could get another really good win.
Yeah, we honest about the Mountain West a lot on the show, but we think the Mountain West is going to be a good conference. But San Diego State is going to be a good team. And then our final
Yeah,
one, I have Ohio State and North Carolina. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. Um, we'll see North
could be.
Carolina. Ohio State got a big two overtime win against West Virginia this week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that game all plays out. That's all the games of the week, but I'm excited to see how this all goes out and plays out for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I did want to kind of mention some other games potentially come Sunday. There's a couple of games that are kind of interesting. Oregon plays Gonzaga on Sunday. Obviously, Oregon hasn't been great this year, but could give Gonzaga some troubles. So that'll be an interesting one there. A couple of mid majors. UC Irvine plays North Dakota State. That'll be an interesting game at the end of the night there. Um, and then another one, Indiana State plays Illinois State. Obviously, we talked about Illinois State just earlier. That should be a great game. And the last one I want to mention, interesting game here. Most people probably won't care about it, but Stony Brook plays Marist on Sunday. Stony Brook being 8-3 and Marist being 7-2, just lost to Xavier. They lost to Xavier in Hartford this year. But Marist could be in for the MAAC, could be competing there. So it'll be an interesting game for that one as well. If anybody wants to watch that game, just a little sicko game there. But just wanted to mention those teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week college basketball as always. So I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, a great week to kind of slow things down going into Christmas. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely, definitely.
All right.
To our
Oh yeah.
next segment, we want to get into transfer portal, especially today on Monday, December 15th. Wholly active, wholly quarterback carousel. I mean,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels like the coaching carousel, except now we got quarterbacks
And
and
legitimately.
all the players. I mean, it has been insane today with all the guys that have entered the portal. Uh, I mean, what a day!
Yeah. Insane to say the least. Obviously, we were talking about it earlier. We saw it all kind of popping up and watching, and then things have happened even since we've on here. And yeah, insane. Obviously, transfer portal only heating up, only will get worse, as in more players entering, and only will have more and more news. Just want to mention a couple of transfers that are kind of interesting to us, and kind of interesting to most people, I would say. Obviously, I think the big thing of the day today was the quarterbacks entering, like you said, and a couple of big quarterbacks entering that. Uh, DJ Lagway for Florida entering this morning. In big news, not something that I don't think even Florida fans saw coming. So that's really interesting to see and to hear about. So we'll see what happens with that. And then the other big name is Dylan Raiola entering. Not something as well that I don't think any of us saw coming, and will be an interesting development and to see where they go.
Yeah, and then I'm going to add someone, Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati. He
Oh,
had a
yeah, you're right. Sorry, I don't know how I missed him.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's at. I mean, he had a great year. I think. I mean, he really played well for Cincinnati. I think he's going to be a good pickup wherever he goes. Um, Obviously, still some guys in there: Colton Joseph, uh, Marcus Stokes, um, and then obviously kind of a more. This is more like Sam Levitt. I've not entered the portal yet though. Um,
yeah,
so,
not technically, but
yeah,
everybody's talking about where he could go. So
yeah.
obviously, more news coming out today. You know, of places that he could possibly end up at. So
And,
that'll be interesting to see.
and him and Bryce Hunter are two guys in that category. Have not entered the portal, but question mark: will Sam Levitt leave? Will Bryce Underwood leave? Um, Obviously, still trying to figure out that whole situation there. But again, a lot of guys entering the portal today, and it's only going to grow. But I think the big topic of discussion was obviously the quarterbacks being there. Uh, Big day with all those guys entering the portal.
Do you want to mention? I know it came up just before we started. Uh, I get drunk up in the podcast. Yeah. Uh, the guy that we brought up right before this started, TJ Finley entering the transfer portal again. So yeah, TJ Finley entering the transfer portal again for what I think we said the seventh time or something like that.
Too
Kind of
many.
insane. Yeah, way too many times. That's for sure. Coming from this time transferring out of Georgia State. I don't know where he's going to go, man. He could end up legitimately anywhere.
Who knows? But obviously, that was a big topic. And we'll obviously get more updates going forward, but a lot of big names entering the portal, and of course, a lot of question marks following that.
Yeah.
Now, now I want to move into still saying college football, but more of our discussion question, and a lot of talks, if you will, from what I've heard about it. Obviously, a big game this weekend. Army Navy, as always, that is passed. Navy won by 17-16, a great game. Uh,
Yeah.
and the big question and more discussion: should that game be moved to week 13 or beginning of the season instead of being? Um, Reason being is we talk about it. You look at the standings for the American Athletic Conference where teams are. Navy was in a tie for first for the conference championship game, and they unfortunately got beat out of the tiebreaker. But that being said, they have one less game on their resume. Um, like 11 games to 12. Um, so in a situation where they could have a chance to make the college football playoff and get a higher ranking, do you think that game should move to an actual game being where it's at?
Um, I do want to bring up that that game technically doesn't matter for American Conference play. So the Army Navy game is always scheduled that way, has been scheduled that way, and Navy plays 8 games in conference. The Army game doesn't count as a conference game, so technically can't be kept out of anything. Um, but people I have seen debating that whether Army Navy should be the start of the season instead of the end of the season. maybe just a more of a kickoff game than it is an ending game
Or
because
more,
since it's
just being included. I'm sorry. I mean, there's more being included, like as in it being one of their 12 games. Because remember, by the point of the season, they've only played 11 games.
true,
So
true.
it doesn't count towards that. And obviously, the last 2 years, those two teams have been up top of rankings and have had a chance to enter college football playoff as a G6 school.
True. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think it could be a good starting game. Like maybe put it at the beginning of the season, be a good game. Maybe it doesn't count for conference play. Maybe it does. If you do move it, I think it'll be interesting to see. It's always an interesting game to watch. I know most people aren't really happy with the fact that maybe instead of having big games this week, the only game that you basically had this year, obviously, bowl game falling on that day. Usually not really. So it's just the Army Navy game, and people don't love that. Army Navy game always great though to watch. I think that's the reason they keep it where it is. I don't think they'll change it anytime soon unless there becomes an issue for some reason of staying in that. Always the debate though is if Navy were to make a CFP, what would that be like? Because like you said, they're one less game, but they're also playing a game when none of the other teams that would be playing the playoff would be playing a game. So does that give them more of an advantage? Does that give them less of an advantage? What's kind of the problem there? How does that work out? So I think that could be interesting. But as of right now, I don't see much of an issue with it keeping there. I do think maybe it could be like a first week game. Maybe it could kick off football. Like that would be kind of interesting to see. But I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think in my mind, I mean, it's going to be a rivalry game, so why not move it to rivalry week? Um, I look at it like this, and obviously, I feel like now with where they finished in the rankings, plus the standings in the conference the last couple of seasons, I mean, they've been right there. Um, playing one less game, they can't build a resume. I would say. Depending on who they play, I mean, you can get that one extra game to put on your resume. Say, hey, we beat so and so, or we did this. Um, and you look at obviously the standings for the American Athletic Conference, where it was at. I mean, again, they were in a tie for first.
Yeah,
So if they won the conference championship game or made it there, they still have one less game. And I think there'd be a whole dilemma with rankings and where they would be placed because obviously it's the top non-power five school or non-power four, excuse me.
I think could be. I think the only issue as of recent that people would say is the fact that Army really wouldn't be a resume boosting win. It would be a resume if they were to lose to them. Then yeah, that's the conversation. Is okay. Well, would the committee, if say, put them in the playoffs, then they go the next week and they lose to a bad Army team? Could they push them back out of the playoffs? Like, could something weird happen like that? I think that's the issue there. I would say though, again, Navy beating Army doesn't really mean much. If they were to make it to the college football playoff, ranking wise, wouldn't change. We'll see if how the CFP works itself out, if it goes to 16 and what that looks like potentially. But overall, I mean, I say keep it where it is instead of the couple years that we don't have football on that Saturday. We at least have no other games. We at least have just that one game. I mean, I don't hate it where it is. I do see the reason though why it could be changed.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, just last little point about it, being where it's at, and I mean, the implications it could have
Yeah,
with where it's being at,
yeah,
but more for how good the programs have gotten the last couple of years and where they've been at.
true,
They're almost in a
true.
spot now where they're competing to be one of those the the G6 schools to get into the playoff. They have that chance now. They're both
True.
competing for it.
And Navy
So
for sure.
yeah, and Army did it. Was it a couple of years ago? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it was before that. So again, it's just something that's been talked about, and obviously the scheduling for the college football playoff, the games, I think kind of sucks myself. I mean, I get it, but I'm also like, I feel like they should play the weekend after it's done. But I also get Selection Sunday, give them time to get where they need to be and maybe prepare. But I think that they could play the weekend of, but obviously not my decision, and just is what it is. Um, Last little thing, we're going to get into some NFL news. Um, Two big things from yesterday, really. Micah Parsons feared to have torn an ACL.
I think it was reported that he did.
Today, it must have been reported that he had tore his ACL. A huge loss to the Packers because they made, of course, a big investment to Dallas for it.
Well,
From
and a big part of what the Packers have been. I mean, he's played great this season. He's been their best pass rusher. So like big loss for them, especially coming down the stretch here. They don't have one of their top defensive guys, and they've played some great defense. So it'll be a big loss for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you invest a lot into a guy like Micah Parsons, and unfortunately, it worked out the way it did. Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
The next thing is Patrick Mahomes going down with an injury,
Mm.
not confirmed with a torn ACL. I don't think it's a torn ACL, or is it for sure?
Yes,
I'll be
it was
honest with
reported
you,
today as well that it was a torn ACL, and he did not suffer any other. He thankfully did not suffer any other damage to any other muscles, to any other MCLs or anything. So
yeah,
it was just a torn ACL.
okay, you were right. Yeah, I mean, because I was reading, I was like, wait, because it didn't say specifically, but yeah, no other ligament avoided major damage in the ligament. And they missed the playoffs this year for the first time since the 2014-15 season, or what? It
Yep,
was around.
10 years of making 10 years of winning the division. Not anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, tough news, but that's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, yeah, sucks for the Chiefs. We'll see what they do going forward. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the Patrick Mahomes injury. I mean, when can he be back? Can he be back for the start of next season, or will it be a couple games, or what does that look like? And then where do they go from now? Obviously, Travis Kelsey probably going to retire. I'd imagine. Does Andy Reid still stay? Does he not? I don't think he'll retire. I think he wants to at least have one more goal, a Super Bowl, but potentially maybe he retires. Obviously, they've got to get some better guys. Man, they played poorly this year. They didn't have the guys to win games, which is weird to say because you look at their roster and they do have a lot of good players. They just couldn't put it together this year. Had a lot of injuries on the wide receiver core. Obviously, people like Rashee Rice obviously being out, Worthy having some injuries, stuff like that, and Travis Kelsey just didn't have his best year. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see really where the Chiefs will go after missing the playoffs this year, and what they need to do to get back to what they were. Because nobody would have saw this coming. Nobody would have saw the Chiefs missing the playoffs and not competing.
Big news there. Obviously, we'll see where that leads, and obviously the playoff picture being where it's at. Big game tonight. Pittsburgh and Miami are going to play tonight, which that has big playoff implications for the AFC North.
Yeah,
And Miami will possibly win out and find their way a spot.
Miami's Miami's got to win tonight. So
So
if
we'll
they
see.
lose, they're out of playoff contention. So
Before
big game.
we'll see where everybody falls into place, and we'll obviously talk about that Thursday uh, before
Yeah,
we get
yeah,
there. But
yeah,
exciting stuff for
for
sure.
sure.
Anything else you want to mention, bring up, talk about?
Yeah, did want to mention, I know I showed it to you earlier, uh, good old Scotty Scheffler winning Golfer of the Year for the fourth time in a row. That's a four beat for him.
He's a dog.
Amazing, obviously. Great, great wins this year, majors, everything. And then also Aldrich Poitgeiter winning Rookie of the Year. Did want to bring that up. Had a great season. Won the Rocket Mortgage. Could be well, obviously he played great this year, competed, but we'll compete this next year, I would think.
Is that the South African, or am I thinking of somebody different?
Mm-hmm.
That's how.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember watching. I think 3 years ago. I think I remember seeing him, and I was like, that guy could be pretty good one day. Very talented golfer.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say that Scotty does join some company in Four Peats for Player of the Year awards. I think the last person to do it was Tiger Woods. Obviously, not surprising. I think it was 1999 2002. So Scotty being Scotty, man, just winning winning tournaments, winning majors. It'll happen. He's the only other player other than Tiger I'm seeing that has won 4 in a row. And so, yeah, we'll see how many tournaments he can win next year. I don't know. He won 6 this year. Can he win, 6 more next year? 7? What does he win all the majors? What could it possibly be? Man's insane, and we'll see how good he becomes.
Exciting stuff. Good week of sports. A lot
Yeah,
of fun stuff to talk about. I know we'll be ready to go for it and very anticipated to see how it all plays out. But with that being said, thank you for joining us, and
definitely,
we'll
definitely.
see you.
Yep. See you on Thursday.